All right. So we are going to do, this is in your notes. This is Slope-Intercept Form Day 2. It's actually Day 3 in your notes from Indicator 5, but this indicator is so long, it's not just numbered Day 1, Day 2, Day 3, Day 4. It's broken up into Slope-Intercept Day 1, Day 2, and then we'll do a standard Day 1, Day 2. So this is Slope-Intercept Form Day 2. And just as a quick review, so we've got Indicator 5, and we're going to do Slope-Intercept. Form, and then again, this is Day 2. Okay, and as a review from yesterday, we have linear equations, and linear equations just simply means equations that when you graph them, they make a straight line. Okay, and of the linear equations, we have 3 forms. We have slope-intercept, okay, which is y equals mx plus b. That's what we're going to be dealing with more today. We also, coming up next week, we'll talk about standard, and then we will talk about point slope form. And when we get to point slope form, you'll understand what I mean about the ones that I showed you on the key today, and they were worked a little different. We will actually do that a little bit in the point slope form, and then once you know both ways on the quiz, you can decide which way you think is easiest to do. But we'll deal with that next week, okay? Am I good to go on? Give me a holler if I need to wait. All right. And of course, this video is always posted on Canvas. If you ever miss something, I always post. Usually I record at 4th hour, but I record it at some point throughout the day, and then I post it on Canvas later in the day, okay? All right. So this is a review from yesterday. So if we have an equation that looks like this, and just for the record, this is point slope form, so we will be getting more familiar with this next week. But if you were given an equation like this and you're just asked to write it in slope-intercept form, okay, I would just, when you read the directions for each section of your homework, just kind of underline what they're asking you to do so you make sure, because this indicator, more than any other indicator, the instructions for each little section are so important because there are so many little intricate nuances about this indicator that they can be asking for different stuff, okay? So in this particular case, we're asked to write it in y equals mx plus b. And, okay, so the first thing we do is we distribute. So we get y minus 3 equals 1/4 x, because 1/4 times x is just 1/4 x. And then again, if you need to, come out to the side and take 1/4 times 4 over 1. That's this part of the distribution. We're taking 1/4 times 4. And when we do that, we get 4 over 4, which equals 1. So, and it's positive and positive, so it's going to stay positive 1. And then we need to add 3 and add 3. And when we do that, we get y equals 1/4 x plus 4. And that's all we're asked to do. We're not asked to state the slope and the intercept, so that's our final answer. It's in y equals mx plus b. Okay? Any question on that? Like I said, this is just a quick review. And then we have ones like when we're asked to write it in slope-intercept form, when we are given a point and we're given a slope. And again, we're asked to write it in y equals mx plus b. Well, to do that, right, we need the m, and we have that. That was given to us. But we also need the b. And we weren't given the b, but we were given some clues that will allow us to find the b. So using y equals mx plus b as our formula to solve for b, we're going to plug in the y, the m, and the b. Okay, well, my y and my x and my y come from right here, right? This is my x and my y. And so I can plug that in for x and y. And then I already know my m because I was given my m at the beginning. And then again, we're going to be looking for the b. So let's plug everything in. So y is 4 equals m, which is 1/2, x, which is -2, plus b. We don't know that yet, right? That's what we're going to be searching for. That's what we need to solve for. And again, come out to the side if you need to. 1/2 times -2/1. Well, those cancel out to 1 and 1, and we're left with -1. So you've got 4 equals. Remember, you got a positive times a negative. So whatever work you did out here, you need to make sure it comes out to a negative. So 1/2 times -2 is -1 plus b. And then we're going to add 1 and add 1. And we get b equals 5. Okay, so now we can add up here where we had our clues up here, right? We can add a clue of b equals 5 to our information that we know. And now, in order to write it in y equals mx plus b, you need to know the m, which we have, and you need to know the b, which we have. So now we can write our equation. And remember, when you're writing the equation, the y and the x stay generic. So we're going to keep it y equals, our m we know is 1/2, our x stays generic, and our b is a positive 5, so it's plus 5. Okay, taking the clues they give you to get to the answer they want. That is literally, if I had to put this entire indicator into one little quick blurb, that's what this whole indicator is. And as we move through the week next week, you'll be getting different clues, and you'll be asked to be putting it in different formulas, but it's always using the clues they give you to get to the end answer they want, okay? All right, so let's do another one here. We've got -2x minus 2y equals -2. And this is standard form. We'll deal with this Monday and Tuesday. But for now, we're still in slope-intercept, which is y equals mx plus b. And the instructions say, get your standard form into slope-intercept. So we need to start moving things around. Well, the first thing we need to move around is this 2x, because we know it needs to go on this side. And when we do that, we're left with -2y equals, and when you write your right side, it's important to write that positive 2x first to stay in mx plus b form. And then the -2 just drops down. And then we still want to get y by itself, so we're going to divide by -2. And what I do to 1, I do to all 3. And that gives me y equals 2 divided by -2 is -1. You can write the 1 or you don't have to. It doesn't matter to me. And then -2 divided by -2 is +1. So that's an acceptable way to write your answer. The other acceptable way to write it is like this. They both mean the exact same thing. One just writes the 1 and one doesn't. Okay? Any question with that one? All right, we're going to move on to just something a little new. It's not really new, it's just different clues. So we're asked to write a slope-intercept form of an equation for a line that passes through 2 points, -4, -3, and it passes through the point -6, -9. And that's all we're given. And we're asked to write it in y equals mx plus b. Well, again, write what 2 bits of information do I need to write an equation in mx plus b? I need the m and I need the b. And I'm not given either one of them. But from what we did on Wednesday with 2 points, what can I find? Sam? Slope. I can find my m, right? So I'm going to take what I learned from Wednesday, and I'm going to find my slope, and then I'm going to take my slope and one of these points, and I'm going to use what I learned yesterday, and I'm going to find my b, and then I'll have everything I need, okay? So it's a little bit extra step, but they still give you enough clues that you can eventually get to the end. So we're going to first look for our slope, and we know that slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I'm going to name my points. I always do. I think it's easier. So I've got x1 and y1 here, and I've got x2 and y2 here. Okay? So now, knowing I've named them, I'm going to put them in, I'm going to move this down just a little. I'm going to put them in the slope formula, and I'm going to find my slope. So on top, I have y2 minus y1. y2 minus a -3, because my y1 is a negative, and you got to be careful not to lose one of those negatives. And then on the bottom, I've got x2, which is -6, minus x1, which is also a negative. So I got to be careful here with my brackets. Let's clean this up a little bit. -9 minus a minus goes +3, and -6 minus a minus goes +4. That's a whole lot easier to work. Okay? So -9 plus 3 is -6. And -4 plus 2, or plus 4, I was given the answer, is -2. And then a negative and a negative is going to reduce to a positive, and 6/2 reduces to a +3. So all of that just to get that my m equals 3. And then from yesterday, we learned that if we have the m and we have a point, we can find the b, right? And we know we need the b. Well, do we have the m? We do. We just found it. Do we have a point? We actually have 2 to choose from. Does it matter which one you pick? Nope, it does not. Okay? It doesn't matter which one you pick, because remember I said every single point on this line is going to work. So these 2 points are just 2 of the bazillion points on this line. They're going to work, either one of them. So I usually like to pick the ones with no negatives, but we don't have that option here. And that's just because usually it's easier than dealing with negatives. But I don't have that option here. So I'm going to go ahead and just pick, I'm going to pick this first one. And it doesn't matter which one you pick, but I'm going to pick that one. So y equals mx plus b. My y here, my orange y here, is -3. So y equals, my m I just found is a 3. My x of the point I'm using is -4 plus b. So now we need to find what b equals. So we've got -3 equals, well, 3 times -4 is -12 plus b. And then I want to move my 12 over, so I'm going to add 12 and add 12. And when I do, I get b equals +9, right? Check my math here. So I can come back over here to the right where I've got all my clues written, and I can now fill in for a b, that b equals 9. Now I have my m, I have my b, I have the 2 things I need to write an equation. So my answer here is y equals, the m I found is 3, the x is generic, and the b I found is +9. And that is an equation for the line that has those 2 points and the slope and the intercept that I found, okay? Excuse me. And again, your x and your y stay generic because that x and y stands for this point, it stands for this point, it stands for every other point that lands on this line. So that's why your x and your y always just stay a generic x and y, okay? And I'm not going to do it today because I may do it on the next problem if we have time. But if I had used the green set of points, the x2 and or the x2 and y2, I still would have gotten b equaling 9, and I still would have gotten y equals 3x plus 9. Okay? And if we have time on the next problem, I'll show you that that works. Any question on this? This one does add an extra step in there, but it's just because you have to find your own slope rather than them giving you a slope. Okay? So it takes Wednesday's work, Thursday's work to do Friday's work. It's kind of how math works. All right, let's do one more example, I think. Yeah, one more example. All right, so you're given some clues here. You're given that a line passes through the points 2, 0, and it also passes through the point -1, 3. And you're asked to write an equation in slope-intercept form, which we know is y equals mx plus b. And we know that to do that, we need to find m equals, and we need to find b equals, right? Those are the 2 pieces of information that we need in order to write our equation. So first, we have to find our m because we have 2 points. So we use our 2 points, and again, I'm going to name these, right? I've got x1 and y1, and I've got x2 and y2. So I've got an orange pair and a green pair. And I'm going to use those two in my slope formula to find my slope. So m equals, all right, on top, my y's. So I start over here with y2, and I have y2, which is a 3, minus 0, which is my y1. And then on bottom, I have x2, which is negative 1, minus 2. And I don't have anything to clean up because I don't have any minus a minus. So I can just evaluate this. Well, 3 minus 0 is just 3. And negative 1 minus 2, right? A negative minus a minus, you go deeper. So negative 1, think about it, if you're negative 1 in the hole and you go deeper, two more negative, you're negative 3 in the hole. And then you reduce this because 3 divided by negative 3 is negative 1. So my m is negative 1. Okay, that's my first piece of the puzzle that I have found. Now I need my b. So, and I'm going to show you on this one because I think we'll have plenty of time. I'm going to work it once with the orange point, and then I'm going to work it again with the green point, and I'm going to show you that either way, you're going to get the same answer for b. All right, so let's work it with the orange point first. So y equals mx plus b. My orange y is a 0. So y equals, my m is negative 1. My orange x is a 2. Plus b. So I've plugged in y equals mx plus b for the 3 things I know, and I'm going to solve for b. Well, 0 equals negative 1 times 2 is negative 2 plus b. And then I'm going to add 2 to both sides, and I get b equals, let's do that in black. I get b equals 2, positive 2. Okay, so I'm going to come up here in my little area where I'm putting my clues, and I'm going to fill in a positive 2 for b. But I am going to show you real quick, I'm also going to do the same thing, and I'm going to work it with the green points. You do not have to work it with both. I'm just showing you that it works for both. You pick whichever set of points you think is going to be the easiest to evaluate. Okay, so I'm going to use my green points now. My green point, or my y2, so my y equals, my 3 equals, my m stays the same, right? Because my m is the slope no matter what. M, my green x is negative 1 plus b. And I get 3 equals negative 1 times negative 1 is a positive 1 plus b. And then when I subtract 1 and subtract 1, I get b equals 3 minus 1 is 2. So my b equals 2. No matter what point you pick, okay, when you're given 2 points, choose whichever one you think is going to be the easiest and then run with it. All right, so now I have, let's draw another little line here. Now I have my m and I have my b. I've got all I need to write my equation. My equation is y equals, my m is negative 1. You can put a negative 1 or just leave it negative. It doesn't matter. X, and then my b is positive, so it's plus 2. Remember, if your b is negative, just put minus 2. And again, an acceptable way to write this is y equals negative x plus 2. You can write the 1 in front of the slope or in front of the x or not. You just have to know it's there. When we start graphing these, you got to know that it's there. But either one of these is an acceptable answer for your problem. Okay? Any question on these? So the only difference between today's homework and yesterday's homework, I think the top half is exactly the same. And then on the bottom half, they're just going to give you 2 points. You got to find your own slope and then take the slope, one of the points, and do what we did yesterday, which was write it in slope-intercept form. Any questions? All right, for those of you at home, go ahead and click on the load button, load the assignment through Kami, show all of your work, or else you don't get credit. Show all of your work, circle your answers, and then hit submit when you're done and submit it through Kami. And as always, email me if you have any questions.